everyone. This is Jamarl Thomas. I hope you all are doing good today. I'm not going to be in a position where I can do many videos today, but I do want to have a conversation on something that's taking place right now across the pond that we're going to probably get more information on, that we're definitely going to get more information on. Julian Assange has been forced from the embassy, and what we find is that there is one charge, not espionage, but a hacking charge against Julian Assange that they're using to extradite him, or I would imagine extradition is going to be one of the things that's going to come up in this process. Glenn Greenwald and Edward Snowden commented on this very thing, but first let's take a look at it. I'm showing it in the background, but let's take a look at it. This is Assange being evicted using bogus pretense. They tried, I did videos with talking about Moreno coming up with all the stuff about a scandal that has taken place that he was responsible for, that he somehow blamed WikiLeaks for in order to use that as a crowbar in order to get Julian Assange out. He's trying to say Julian Assange has something to do with, or WikiLeaks has something to do with it. That was nonsense. He has a scandal going from his own, you can call it incompetence, or from his own corruption. Nevertheless, they've been trying to find a reason to get Julian Assange out of the embassy. They've been looking for a pretext, and apparently they found it. Personally, this comes across as a certain U.S. subjugation of the other states in Latin America again. The previous president, Correa, had a very strong idea of sovereignty of Ecuador. The new president, Moreno, that is out the window. What the U.S. wants, the U.S. gets. In this case, the United States and the UK have been pressing on Ecuador to evict Assange from out of the embassy. And they finally got what they wanted. Let's take a look at the video. And I don't have a lot of time at this moment, but I did want to get this across. I woke up this morning queasy as could be, like really nauseous. My wife comes in and says, Julian Assange has been captured. They're not related. I'm just saying. I would have been here earlier. Let's take a look at the video.
No worries.
Why are these people smiling? Like, do they understand what's taking place? Somebody is being prosecuted and put in prison for doing journalism. And if Assange is guilty of doing journalism and they can lock Assange up, anyone is fair game on this. And I understand they're not using the Espionage Act. I don't care if they're not using the Espionage Act. If they're locking him up for what he's doing, which is releasing information, or in this case, trying to push sources to give him information, that is all journalists do. If he's fair game for this, then every other media organization that uses real journalists to try to peer and get information about what's going on behind the scenes is under threat. I want to take a look at a tweet that Glenn Greenwald and Edward Snowden wrote, because I think it's prescient and it nails down the absurdity of this. Greenwald. Come on. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back to my other page. Where is it? Did I lose it? All right, right here. Department of Justice. The DOJ says part of what Assange did to justify his prosecution beyond allegedly helping Manning to get the documents is he encouraged Manning to get more documents for him. Journalists do this with sources constantly. It's the criminalization of journalism. And as a journalist, he would know. This is kind of one of those things where people say, when they came for this person, I didn't pay any mind to it, but when they came for me, nobody else was there to say anything about it. Julian Assange does their job better than they do with somewhat of a shoestring budget and podunk website, and he's become an international, criminal by U.S. standards because he's publishing information that's factually true. And you have to ask the question, if the information that's true is such an issue for various countries, particularly the United States, what on earth are they themselves putting out? They're so scared of the truth. Edward Snowden. The weakness of the U.S. charge against Assange is shocking. The allegations he tried and failed to help crack a password during their world-famous reporting has been public for nearly a decade. It's the count that the Department of Justice under Obama refused to charge, saying it endangered journalism. Obama chose not to do this, understanding intellectually that from a philosophical basis, this threatens all of journalism if you're allowed this charge to go through. Trump, not so philosophical, doesn't understand the fine contours of it and probably doesn't even care because he doesn't understand. And he goes after Assange. Let's take a look at the lawyer's comments, and then I'm going to have to go, but this is a dark day.
He wants to thank all of this precedent means that any journalist can be extradited for prosecution in the United States for having published truthful information about the United States. I've just been with Mr. Assange in the police cells. He wants to thank all of his supporters for their ongoing support, and he said, "I told you so."
Think about what she's saying for the moment. Any reporter, anywhere in the world, doesn't matter who they are under this precedent, if the U.S. doesn't like what you're publishing, apparently the U.S. believes that it is such a unipolar power, that it is such dominance over the rest of the world, that if it doesn't like what you're publishing about it, even if it's true, it could potentially put a charge on you and try to get you extradited. I'd imagine some countries may not go along with it, but you can imagine that all of the client states of America, essentially the Western world, would. It is a sad day that Edward Snowden, for releasing factually true information, had to go to Russia. Like I said, I'm not going to keep this one long because I have to have appointments that I need to keep. But let's see. Kills for a living. Yes, they finally got him. He was so horrible. He hurt so many people for revealing the truth. Revealing the truth. Can we do a citizen's arrest of Wolf Blitzer and Rachel Maddow? I don't know. I mean, you have to get a charge to get him on, right? Depending on the charge, I suppose the answer is yes if it's a real and legitimate charge. But otherwise, you're going to have other people to agree with you that what they did was criminal. And I suspect that there's a lot of people who don't even believe that Mueller, meaning they supported Mueller as long as Mueller was going to tell them exactly what they wanted and he was going to do what they couldn't do legislatively, which was get Trump out of office. Now, I would imagine they don't particularly like Mueller. He probably thinks he's a Russian plant. But this is a sad day. It's sad if journalists go along with this, meaning think it's okay. It's sad if the public goes along with this, not thinking this is a big deal. And ultimately, you have the one guy that's putting out factually true information of sources that was unedited sources is the guy that gets prosecuted. And again, you have to ask the question, what is going on in your society where the honesty and the truth is criminalized? I had to go even further. John Bolton, the International Criminal Court. John Bolton in the United States has been actively fighting the International Criminal Court. And if the International Criminal Court is there in order to prosecute war crimes and those type of things, then you have to ask the question, why on earth is your government fighting the organization that's there to prosecute war crimes? What does it mean about your government? What does it mean about the things that your government is doing when truth is that much of a problem? Or, for that matter, crimes and prosecution of those crimes becomes that much of a problem. That's what I would leave you with. What is wrong with your government that truth has become criminalized? Julian Assange says resist. I will imagine whatever measure that you can find. Make it significant, or at the very least where tactics can lead to other tactics. But whatever measure you can find. Resistance is right. In his case, the only thing he could do was to not walk. Meaning, if you're going to take me, you're going to drag me out of here. And that's exactly what took place. Wes, sad news indeed, my friend. Thank you, Wes. Wes, I always appreciate your contributions. And yeah, it is a sad day. It's a very sad day. Like I said, I woke up nauseous. And my wife, and I don't think they're connected, it's not like that, but it's kind of this, it's like emblematic of what was taking place. It's like emblematic of what was taking place. Guys, this is a dark day. Hopefully there can be some level of resistance. Hopefully there can be some pushback on this. I want to talk more about the Julian Assange thing in the first place. So, the U.S., policeman of the world. You know as well, there was another case similar to this. In this case, the guy heard that NASA, he was a British citizen. He heard that NASA had certain information that it wasn't releasing to the public, meaning images and pictures of UFO stuff. He goes to NASA. He cracks into NASA's code. NASA's passwords were like password. He says it himself. He says, look, the passwords were like, nonsense. I'm not a hacker. I just kind of put in numbers and all of a sudden it came out. They were stupid enough to leave their password nearly blank or something like password. And he goes in and he tries to get pictures that NASA is hiding. He gets caught, meaning somebody sends him a message. What are you doing here? Just like in the movies. What are you doing here? And he closes his computer, shuts everything down. But at that point, the cops come to his door. The United States tried to get him extradited. Now, people can say, well, that story doesn't make sense or that story is not real, except for the fact that the United States tried to extradite him. Cameron blocks it. Cameron doesn't allow it. His mom's freaked out. His mom's like crying and whatnot. He's freaked out by the whole experience. And it goes for like a year, but Cameron eventually blocks it. Not this time. Not this time. I'll leave it here. If you guys enjoyed the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through PayPal or Patreon. And there's one more. Trump Army of Kentucky. My sister, rich boy, 38-year-old ex-girlfriend died being a dirtbag. He was cremated between a Domino's pizza and a Chinese restaurant. He wasn't a Muslim. What? Trump Army of Kentucky. My sister's rich boy, 38-year-old ex-boyfriend, died a dirtbag. He was cremated between a Domino's pizza and a Chinese restaurant. He wasn't a Muslim. I don't know what a Muslim has to do with that. Raymond Smith Kirsch. Thank you, Raymond Smith Kirsch. All right, guys, I'm going to end this here. This is a dark day for journalism. I think Julian Greenwald sums it up, and Edward Snowden sums it up beautifully. The weakness of the U.S. charge against Assange is shocking. The allegations he tried to fail to help crack a password doing their world-famous reporting has been public for nearly a decade. It is the count that Obama's Department of Justice refused to charge, saying it would endanger journalism. Imagine for the moment that somebody across the world publishes something true of Trump. Let's say his tax returns. Donald Trump now has precedent of going after that person for releasing his tax returns. It doesn't matter if it's true. It just matters that he published something that the United States or the people who are running the government didn't like. The Democratic Party at this point would be like, whoa, leave him alone. Leave him alone. But at this point, Donald Trump would have all the precedent needed to go after Assange. Just saying, this is a dark day. Glenn Greenwald, the Department of Justice says part of what it did to justify its prosecution belonged alleging helping Manning to get documents as he encouraged Manning to get more documents for him to publish. This is weak. This is just as bad as Russia put Facebook and Twitter ads, and that was able to topple Hillary Clinton's $1 billion campaign. All of this is a certain degree of absurdity. Then again, ask the question, if the United States is terrified of somebody publishing the truth, what does it mean about the policy and the doctrine and the things that the United States is actually pushing out? I'll leave it here. Thanks all. And I'll see you all later this evening, I think. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support this content through PayPal or Patreon. I will be keeping up to date on this story. And of course, we wish Assange all the luck in the world. I would imagine there would be protests and there would be people pushing back on this. My only issue with the pushing back is let it be substantial and let it be real and let it be something that has some chance, some semblance of a chance of having some level of effect in the objective world. It's not just about feeling good, it's about getting things done. Thank you all.